Hello everyone, welcome back to another gameplay and review video. Today I am taking a look at Horsetail's Emerald Valley Ranch, which released on November 3rd. Before we get started though, if you are new to the channel, please consider subscribing. I'd absolutely love to have you. So I didn't play the game until the 4th, and by then it had already had around 74 reviews, resulting in a mixed review status. Obviously, that didn't give me much hope, and I figured I'd be refunding the game pretty quickly considering it was a very pricey $26.99, and that was on a 10% launch sale. But I went ahead and launched the game. The character creator is nothing special, you just pick a skin, eye, and hair color and style. First, looking at the art style of the game, it's absolutely beautiful. I really love this Breath of the Wild aesthetic that so many games are doing now. It's so colorful and vibrant. As most of the negative reviews mentioned, the controls on mouse and keyboard are very weird. Not really the controls per se, but the camera movement. It's hard to explain, but it kind of whips around in a wide and slippery way. Supposedly this is better on controller, but I didn't try it. And also the store page states it's only partially controller supported, so it's kind of weird if it's better on controller, it's not even fully supported for controller, I don't know. Also, the character's moving animation looks pretty bad. It's like I'm juking people in a game of football or something. Once you get past those first few quirks, you greet this little guy who leads you to an area where you choose your first horse. This was kinda neat because you get to observe each horse to learn their stats, their likes and dislikes, genealogy, current conditions, and some personality traits from the horse's menu. You also get to test ride them before choosing one, which is pretty unique. First, interacting with the bay horse introduced the petting minigame. Each horse prefers a certain area on their body to be petted and in a certain order. Once you figure out the correct pattern, you can use it again and again to comfort your horse, getting rid of any negative mood effects. Before understanding this minigame, it was quite tedious having to pet the horse over and over again through the world to get the bar to be fully hearts. Even once you catch on to what pattern your horse wants, the constant need to pet your horse gets really old. I want to mention though, the petting animations overall are very cute. I wanted to go with the bay simply for color, but she hated forests and is a lazy jumper. I took her for a test ride, but decided she wasn't the right fit for me. I ended up with Molly, the black horse. She was out of shape and uneasy in the dark, but other than that, she seemed nice. Also, she has the nosy trait, which apparently means she'll wander off when you're not mounted, but I didn't think that was too bad of a quirk. First riding around, the animation looked pretty good. The galloping isn't overly slow as is common in horse games, and there are transitions from gate to gate that feels really natural. Also, lead changes. Thank you very much to the developers for that detail, it's so rare. But yeah, moving around, turning, halting, sliding, all of it looks really good in my opinion. Again, the controls are a little tough to get the hang of, but you do eventually get used to it. Something I find really neat is when you're riding uphill, your horse reacts to the hill by slowing down and losing energy faster. It sincerely feels like the horse is working harder to get up the hill. You can time hitting your shift key with the beat of the gallop as if to push your horse forward to keep your speed up and help the energy decrease slower. At first, I couldn't time the jumps correctly for the life of me. You can press and hold the space bar to make your horse jump longer, but timing it right was just hard at first for whatever reason. I did finally get it though. Agility affects the horse's ability to jump as well. I don't know if that alters the jump timing or not. I really didn't do much research on that. Once you follow the little man to your aunt's ranch, you get the title of the game. You find out at this point that the ranch is in shambles, as I guess your aunt hasn't even been there, and it had been neglected for quite some time. It's your job now to renovate the ranch and bring it back to its former glory. To do this, you explore the map, collecting resources such as stone, wood, clay, bricks, etc. You don't mine or dig for it though, like in most games with these building type mechanics, but instead just find them randomly on the ground. You can only build on certain plots within the ranch, and some of which cannot be unlocked until you reach higher fame levels. This system is a lot like Disney Dreamlight Valley. You gain fame by competing in races, training up high-level horses, breeding, and selling them. You can also find fame points in hidden areas around the map. I started building bridges to get to other areas of the map and completing quests. There are story quests and side quests to complete. This game definitely rewards you for exploring. There are many little fame bubbles to find, like I mentioned before, cosmetic items such as tack and clothing, and schematics to build more things. Care for the horse consists of feeding, grooming, and petting. Just like each horse likes certain places to be petted, they also prefer certain foods. There are carrots, sugar, peppermints, sunflowers, and apples to choose from. There is no fast travel system other than getting back to your ranch. You can do that at any time by pushing X while on the map menu. This makes going around this giant map take a very long time. At one point, my horse became crusty because she needed to be brushed, but I did not have the small stable built yet, which is required to actually groom the horse, so I couldn't brush her. This reduced her speed, which made all the running around take even longer. I found this extremely annoying. Once I built the small stable, I unlocked the ability to brush her, which is another minigame, but that didn't make the crust go away. My guess was that I needed a level 2 stable to get the ability to bathe her. She also continuously got stressed over and over. I couldn't run from point A to point B before she was stressed again for one reason or another. Unless I missed something and you're able to bathe your horse somewhere else, this should not be a problem until you have the capability to take care of it. Supposedly going into water should clean your horse, but it never worked for me. I had to spend so much of my questing exploration time going very slow with no way to alleviate it. I also couldn't figure out a way to equip my new clothes and tack I had been collecting. Again, my guess is you need a dressing room or tack room or something like that built before you can change, but that made all my finds worthless. Initially trying to figure out what different mats were was very difficult. They don't have names and there's little to no information on where to find the different materials. And it's not like you can go digging for them or chopping more trees down because there's no way to do that. It took me a while to be able to build the small stable simply because I didn't know where to find what I needed. As I continued the story quest, I got to the point where I learned that I can exchange different types of wood at the wood processing area near Mateo's cottage, and then he let me know where I can find certain items. That was helpful, but because of the way the mechanics are set up, I focused on building the stable without having the knowledge of how to do so. If it weren't for the slow horse situation, I would have continued the quests and learned this sooner, probably helping a lot of frustration. Oh, another confusing thing. Once you build the small stable, it claims you can then have up to 3 horses. Okay, cool. You can find wild horses and tame them. So I found a herd of wild horses and wanted to tame it only to be told I could not house more than 1 horse. I had no idea why that was. I had the stable built. Why can I only have 1 horse? Well, it turns out these little icons are why. Each thing you build on the ranch has the possibility of giving a, quote, buff of sorts. I was lacking the beach ball buff that's required for the stable to let you have more horses. Once I got the pasture built, that fixed that problem. I now started understanding the building and ranch mechanics. Once I got the pasture built, I captured my first horse. The minigame is a joke. It shouldn't even be there. You spam 1 or 2 buttons and bam, it's done. But anyway. The horse I caught was a stallion named Forrest. Once I got him, the game became a lot more fun again. I was no longer stuck on a super slow horse, at least for a little bit. I rode for about 2 minutes before I was prompted that I needed to brush Forrest to get the tangles out of his hair. I knew at this point what comes next if you don't brush them. The crusty. But I had been riding to complete a race, and if I teleported back to the ranch, that would mean having to run all the way back to the race location. I went ahead and completed the race, tamed a new horse when I was finished, and then teleported back to give Forrest a brush before he got crusty and needed to be bathed. Unfortunately, even after I brushed him, he got crusty. This was very frustrating. Yet another horse that wouldn't sprint and became stressed over and over again due to being crusty. Because my black horse doesn't like dark places, riding her through any area that's dark was a nuisance. She got spooked to the point where she would no longer run and needed to be petted and calmed before she would go any farther. As annoying as it was, I actually like this for the realism of it. The problem with it, though, is any of the horses would randomly get stressed for no reason and way too often. Also, there's no way to calm the horse down while mounted. You have to actually get down, go into the minigame, do that to get the stress icon gone before you can carry on with what you were doing. It's possible that this could be better as they get trained, but I'm not sure. Because of the slow crusty situation, I had to switch horses often to have a decently fast horse. There's some bugs to mention too. Well, there's a lot of bugs, but I'll just mention a couple. Mounting and dismounting sometimes looks ridiculous, and I had a glitch at one point where the horse was doing this really funny movement. Also, sometimes when riding through the materials, they don't get collected. It's as if they're not even there. I really wanted to continue playing to get to the point where I could breed my horses, but I just could not tolerate the crusty debuff anymore. Not only that, but I couldn't complete races because my horses would no longer sprint, so they couldn't jump over certain jumps no matter how many times I tried to clear them. I could have sold the horses and tamed new ones, I guess, but they would need to be trained, and then by then they'd be crusty too. This was very disappointing. I sincerely expected to hate this game a lot. In all honesty though, I don't hate it. I really want to say I like it, but I just can't, at least not in its current state. I can say I do like it for its potential. It doesn't feel quite finished, and I do think that some mechanics need to be executed better, like the stress of the horses and the grooming constantly being a bother. But overall, it is an entertaining game. It's like I can kind of see what they were going for, it's just not quite there yet. It's definitely not worth the high price of $30 as it currently stands. My recommendation if you are interested in this game is to keep your eye on it, see if the devs are listening to the community, or if you don't want to wait, at least wait for a good sale. I still have the game, and I'm going to follow it and see what they do with it. Like I said, it has a lot of potential, and I really like the ideas, it's just not quite right yet. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Please tell me your thoughts on the game down in the comments below. And until next time, bye guys.